residential tech talk, vendors, lighting specialist, residential tech house.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Residential Tech Talks. You're chopping it up with Chuck. I'm the publisher of Residential Tech Today, and we have a very special guest today. We have the new executive editor of Residential Tech Today, Rob Stott. Rob, how the heck are you?
I'm doing well, man. I'm concerned about this only because I'm used to being in your seat on that side. So, asking the question, being the one to ask the questions and uncover that story. So I'm a little hesitant, I guess. We'll see how this goes being on the other side of the mic.
Well, you're going to be here most of the time moving forward. That's one of the reasons we brought you over is because you're pretty comfortable behind the mic. You got a good setup there. And this was a direction that we wanted to go. Once we found out that, Jeremy was not going to be here anymore and he had been with us for like 6 years, really helped launch and create and, make the brand Residential Tech Today what it is. We couldn't have done it without Jeremy. Once we found that he was going to be, moving on, it was like, what do we do? We don't have Jeremy anymore. And everybody agreed we've got to get somebody who's, got some great energies, got some great ideas, really represents the space, is comfortable on a podcast like you seem to be right now. And so we were just really excited to have you. In fact, Jeremy even gave his blessing before he left. He was like, I think that Rob guy would be really good. So congratulations and welcome aboard, buddy.
Thank you. Well, it's nice to hear that he says nice things about me. Behind my back too.
Yes, and everybody knows. Listen,
you can say it to my face, right?
Jeremy's a great shooter. Yeah, Jeremy does not sugarcoat.
No.
So
I love that. No, it's exciting to hear, and obviously exciting to be here too. It's I know we'll get into it, but a space that I'm obviously familiar with, and being in the not just the residential tech space, but the publishing world, and excited to get back into it and see where we can't take this thing.
Yeah. And if you don't mind, just for the audience, let them know a little bit about your background, kind of where you're coming from, so they can get to know you a little bit as the new executive editor of Residential Tech.
For sure. I love talking about myself. So we'll start way back in the day. Right now, I come to Residential Tech Today. We'll work backwards. Right before this, I spent about 5.5 years or so working in the buying group world. So Nationwide Marketing Group is a group that represents a bunch of independent retailers, for over 5,000 independent retailers and custom integrators, well within the residential tech space. They've got their Oasis and the Ozion group, and Ellipsis, which is the commercial group over there. Working in communications and doing PR and getting the word out and podcasting, of course. I did about 250 podcasts for Nationwide Marketing Group, helped them get that, that effort off the ground, and worked in the communications team to build what was just a magazine at that point. They had an independent thinking magazine. But I came in there and our team built an entire brand around independent thinking, launched a blog, launched a podcast, launched a newsletter, did all this work to get, the stories of the members and the vendors in the independent retail world into the publication and share that and get the news out. So always have been a fan of storytelling and finding ways to tell stories. And I think everyone has one, whether they believe it or not. So storytelling's always been my passion. So getting to do it on behalf of that entire community was an incredible experience. So enjoyed doing that. But how I got there was that prior to that, I was at a publishing group. So I'm based here in Philadelphia. I'm 4 for 4 for anyone that knows what that means. A 4 for 4 guy in the sports world. Big fan of the Flyers, Eagles, Sixers, and Phillies, and love this area. In Center City, there's a publishing group called NAPCO Media that had a publishing group that was focused on the consumer tech and residential tech space. So spent about 5 years there as well. Seems to be my number. We'll stick it out longer here. We'll get beyond that. But, we got some time to get there. But spent about 5 years at NAPCO, working on a couple of publications, Dealer Scope, Technology Integrator, and Connected Design, covering the space. So that's where I kind of cut my teeth, if you will, in not just publishing, but the consumer tech space and custom integration channel, getting to know the brands, the people, and building those relationships that ultimately led me to Nationwide. And, spending time on the road at all these events, got to know Jeremy really well. A great dude. All the nice things he had to say about me, I would, turn right around and say about him. He, everywhere he was, he, built up a publication and built it into what it was, and did the same here. So, excited to follow in his footsteps, if you will, and see where we can take it.
Big footsteps.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? No, Jeremy's absolutely great. And, for the people that don't know, we'll just take it back a little step further. Over here at IPW, we used to only have one magazine. It was Innovation and Tech Today. Quarterly, print, digital, celebrities on the cover, really, really nice. We were partnered with CES. We were partnered with CEDIA. We were partnered with Green Build. We were partnered with Sustainable Brands. We had all these different events that the magazine was partnered with, as well as, newsstand and subscribers and stuff. So we were covering CEDIA and had, an issue that would be kind of smart home themed, that tied in with CEDIA. And we were approached about, 6.5 years ago by a group of influencers here that were like, listen, you guys should really take a look at launching a publication specifically for the integrators, dealers, buyers, influencers, in this space. Instead of just carving out some space for innovation and tech today, you should really, look at doing something in the space. It would do a lot of good. It would serve the industry well. It would give people, another option as far as, media and coverage in this space. And so we took a look. We hired some consultants. Fred Ample was one of those people, who was on board and who helped us, really, and rest in peace. Fred's a great guy. And one of the first things that Fred said was, you got to go get Jeremy. You got to have a great editor. So, we did our research and our little think tanking, and we had some meetings, went up to Indianapolis, met with CEDIA, and, we're able to get Jeremy on board. And that's how Residential Tech Today was launched. We were launched to be advocates and to serve the industry, to inspire and inform, and really be able to focus all of our attention to what is a very unique niche audience. Instead of just some attention from Innovation and Tech Today, we could commit, we could go all in. And that was, what we started 6.5 years ago. And now we're really excited to kind of like raise that bar with you, at the helm. So that's just like a little bit of a backstory, of how it came about. And, through the years, we've had some iconic covers, some great issues. We've done a lot of really cool stuff at events, done some great things with brands. And I think that, moving forward with you at the helm, with your background, with what we've received is a lot of enthusiasm from the industry with you coming on board. I have an idea that we're going to be able to do some big things this year and beyond.
Yeah, it's been pretty cool. That reaction, I remember back when I left the publishing world, a couple of years ago, there were some unhappy people with me. They were like, "Why are you doing?" You're like what I think they liked about, and in the nicest way possible. It was just I was like very green, in this space, and the team we were with, some great individuals that I worked with as well that are now well established in this space too, doing different things, and we all kind of like dispersed from what we were doing at that company, and made our way in different areas of the business, whether it was at CEDIA or at other buying groups. They just, I think it was like breathing fresh life into an area that had been stale, and that's what ResTech did. When it was launched, is breathe fresh life into an industry that was just kind of going about its business, not really innovating in any way. And that's the exciting thing to me, is to be able to get back into it now with that added experience of being on the other side or being in different areas of the business, and bringing some of that knowledge and knowing what I wanted from the media side while I was over there, and being able to do that now in this seat. And you mentioned the shoes. I don't like thinking about it from a filling shoes perspective. First of all, that's gross. I think just stepping into someone else's shoes, no one would ever do that. So I don't want to look at it that way. Yeah. But I'm kind of crafting my own is how I would look at it, and being able to, take the reins and think about things differently and innovate in a new way. And again, just see where we can't take ResTech and grow this brand and grow the company.
Yeah, and I really like too the fact that you want to hear from the audience, what do they want more of? What brings more value to them? It's real important for you to have that feedback loop.
Yep.
And listen, everything changes. I mean, things are changing real fast.
Yeah.
This has been the longest first couple months of a year when it comes to change and things that are affecting industries and things that are happening. And this industry is no different. There's a lot that's happening right now. What are some of your thoughts on kind of the state of the state as we move into 2025? What are some of from your experience and what you're noticing and you're hearing, what are some of the important things for the industry that you think that we can dive into as the year goes on?
Yeah. Well, first to your point about the feedback loop, I can think to myself what I think is important, but to me, that's a very egotistical way to approach anything. I know I'm not the smartest guy in the room, so the way you go about making up for that is by talking to the other people that are really smart that make me smarter. So tapping into their knowledge and what they want to hear and making sure we're appropriately covering the things that they want to have covered and learn about, and they give me the direction to then go attack and find these trends and fill the gaps of knowledge and things like that. So. That's the kind of the nexus behind that approach. But then to what I'm hearing and what's out there, and I think I could go back just a few months at this point, a few weeks really, to the things that were important while serving the buying group side. The products are important. Don't get me wrong. Product trends are always going to be new and exciting, and what's out there, and the thing that kind of gets the consumer at the end of the day excited to come talk to an integrator to put these things in their home. But what I'm really excited about diving into are, there's issues that the issues that are out there, we'll call them, the external factors outside of your business, like the T word that no one wants to talk about, but everyone hears about with tariffs and things that are going on. Like, that's a big deal right now. How are they going to be approached? What are manufacturers going to do to address it? How's it going to be passed down to, the integrators buying this product to put in consumers' homes, to the consumer themselves? Well, how are they going to be impacted? So certainly a big thing, but also too, labor has always been a challenge in this space, and finding qualified technicians to come in and you're a custom integrator, you're in there in consumers' homes pulling wires. You got to have people that know how to pull wires, and they're few and far between these days. So those types of things are always going to be important. But just the other areas that how to grow your business, the things that we look at ourselves, and every business wants to grow. So what are you doing to be efficient, to make your what you're doing make money at the end of the day, and make sure that you're having success so that those around you are having success. And I think those are the types of things that I look forward to diving into. Obviously continuing to stay connected to all the groups that are out there that have their fingers on the pulse as well. But then to the other areas that are beyond the scope of, what a custom integrator is doing specifically on the day-to-day. And that's where I think it gets exciting. And you look at some of those, we'll call them parallel industries that are out there that impact the work of a custom integrator. And I think to the designers and the architects and the lighting associations that are out there, to, landscaping. So like everything around the home, you could point to anything in or around a home, and it probably has an association that represents it. So I think that's the other thing too. And I could go back further in my career to when I started, and I worked for a publication that covered the association world, and knowing that there literally is one for everything, that to me just means that there's the opportunity to partner with all of those types of associations that are out there, and help build those bridges. I think is kind of what I'm excited about, doing on behalf of not just our publication, but the industry.
Yeah, and I think that's an important kind of message that we want to put out to the people that are watching this, is that we are here, to collaborate. We're here to partner with you. We're here to leverage our media assets so that we can do creative things, with associations, organizations, brands, events, groups, whatever it is, man. We are open for business, and we are really really looking to collaborate and do some things so that, again, we can help tell great stories, but also, inspire and inform, along the way. And that includes everybody that we just mentioned, because it's a big, it's a small little, niche where everyone knows everybody, but it's a big,
it's the biggest little family.
There's a lot of moving parts. Yeah.
Everyone knows everyone in this industry. And that's one of the most fascinating things to me is that, I was just talking to, might have been one of our contributors or someone in this space, but, as I was, getting my feet wet again on this side of things, and part of our conversation was, it's not the name on top. Like everyone knows everyone. So when you go to a CEDIA or when you go to, whatever group show you're going to catch up with the people that are out there, the name on top, Rob Stott, Chuck Warner. Like it's just, where are you? What's on the bottom? Where are you at today? And what are you doing? And who are you doing it on behalf of? And kind of, seeing where people like their next steps in their careers are. So that's always been fascinating to me, and I think an important part, because everyone does know everyone, and it's just it's the biggest family out there, and we all know what we're doing and care about each other, and it's always been fun to just keep up with those in the space.
Yeah. And I think that the industry too, from what I've experienced, is the industry is open and ripe for these types of collaborations. There's a lot of good ideas, that get kicked around, and people have, and I love seeing collaboration. I love seeing brand collaborations. I love seeing, just creative ideas. So we're not just doing the same thing, from CEDIA to CEDIA. It's cool when we start doing new things. And I think that's why I'm excited, to see some of the stuff that you're going to add, whether that's, coverage in the publication, issue themes, maybe some other areas that we've talked about branching out into, and sort of, extending a little bit more coverage too, whether that's, architecture, design, we've talked about that quasi, what is that space between commercial and residential? There's kind of that little like tweener space there, and I'm just excited to see what you bring, because this is now your baby, and you get the opportunity to kind of like, create whatever we want here.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. And that sort of that being able to play in that sandbox, I don't even want to call it a sandbox. I'd rather call it a beach, because sandbox has walls.
Right.
We're going beyond those and going to have some fun with some of these things. And
sometimes cat turds.
Right. You don't know what you're going to find.
What kind of sandbox is this? No, beach. I like that better.
But we'll have some fun, doing it, and on behalf of like the parallel industries that you point out, but even just like the types of content, and that's where those feedback loops become important in making sure that we're providing the value that the audience needs, and one of those areas, and without showing all our cards in one conversation, the idea of data and how important it is and useful it is, and research always gets me jazzed. As much as I like writing and the words, I'll share this. I got a better SAT score on the math side of things than I did the reading side of things, the reading and writing, which may surprise a ton of people. I am, like, as much as I am a word nerd, I'm a data nerd too. So I love any opportunity to mash those things together. And do research or do surveying and finding trends that way, as opposed to just covering a press release or finding out what new product gets launched. Like digging into the data and spotting is been another passion and something I look forward to doing.
Yeah. And let me ask you this. How do you think, I think the two biggest things that are really changing industries fast across the board in all different industries is AI and automation. Yeah. I mean, how do you see that kind of, playing out in this space? And, I don't expect you to have all the answers here, but things are going to be rapidly moving with how we do our jobs, how we work with AI. Automation obviously is something that businesses really, really need, to be able to scale and to grow. And so I'm just kind of curious, just sort of top line level, how you see AI and automation even being more important in this space considering this is residential tech.
Right. So there's multiple ways to address that question, and I'll try to concisely do it in every single one of those ways. But funny enough, on the way out from Nationwide in my coverage over there, one of the obviously AI is a thing that has been impacting many different industries, including retail. So I think that despite retail not being what custom integration is in many ways, there's a lot of similarities in how AI is going to impact, or how AI can be used to impact those businesses. And, there's the obvious on the technology side of things, and you're talking about smart homes and home automation. It's in the word there. It's in the phrase there, automation. There's that side that's always going to be, evolving, and the technology is going to get smarter, and the homes are going to get smarter and that sort of thing. But really what I think is the fascinating side of it is the business side, and how you can leverage AI. And, I read something recently about how, knowledge workers, I think the more familiar they get with AI, the more they realize it's not something that's going to replace their job. Yeah. And that fear kind of gets, put to rest. And instead, it's something that you can use to become more efficient in your job and focus on other areas. So whether it's, the writer in me hates to say this, but, those emails out to clients or things like that, take time to craft and review and make sure everything's right, and you got all the information there. Leveraging AI for that type of stuff, it just makes you more efficient as a business, and can help make things more seamless. From the customer experience, from the back end of what you're doing experience, and I think that's the area that is more exciting to look into, is how can an integrator leverage AI in their processes to make sure that they are efficient and making money, and using it in the right ways.
Yeah. And it is going to be something that helps enhance people's work. I saw a timeline, for the next few years, it's going to help them. And then, the robots are coming. So we'll see what happens in about 5 years.
But every time Boston Dynamics posts it, and it's gone from those dog looking things to the guy that now they have one that looks like a human that's kicking soccer balls past. There was that AI that the goalie that can block a human shot. The AI robot is beating the AI goalie. So I don't know. It's getting crazy, getting creepy.
It is. I saw somebody post something too. They're like, well, you know what? Robots aren't going to be able to climb into, a crawl space and lay wire. And then that. Someone else was like,
that's what you
yes,
think.
They will.
Yeah, right. Right. That's why they send the dog out. Right. It is. But that, well, hey, that just, to me, even on the robot side of things, a human, sending a human into an unsafe space where, you need to, maybe you get in more into this resi-commercial side of things, and you're doing, office work on these really old buildings, and you can't get into that crawl space. Take a little Boston Dynamics, spider-looking robot, and thread that wire through. It'll help you. It's not here to replace you. I swear.
No, I literally saw.
Knock on wood.
I saw where they were using a ferret. They trained a ferret that could take the wire and go into one thing and then go down, and then he would pop out, and they would give him a treat.
Look at that.
So
See?
Look, we've been using automation, and we've been using alternate.
Work smarter,
labor.
Not harder.
But it'll definitely be interesting, and I think that I think you're right. I think that the AI thing, you were just figuring out how to use it. First, there's the wow factor, and then it's how do we use it, to make us better, at what we do, to make us better, like you said, for the customers, how we communicate and everything like that. So, not to completely nerd out, but I think that we are going to see some really big things happen. And, even here in the media side, that doesn't change, right? We're going to have to take a look at that and see how we can do a better job, of communicating and serving our audience.
Yeah, there are so many tools, AI tools that are out there that are helpful, that, again, just make the job of doing what we're doing easier and frees up my time to be able to go out there and stay on top of those trends and have those conversations to, provide better coverage.
A couple years, we might have a Residential Tech Talks podcast, and there might be our host, who's a robot, and he's doing this, and who knows? But No, I'm really excited. It's great to have you over here. I think that your energy is contagious, and I think that us here at Residential Tech to be able to go from Jeremy to you, we're really really grateful. It's a great time, and what do you think? I know you like the publishing industry and you like the media and stuff like that, but what was the biggest thing that drew you, to this opportunity here with Residential Tech today?
I think, I mentioned the storytelling aspect, and I got to do that at Nationwide, and there were 5,500 stories to be able to tell, and I love that opportunity. It's just getting to do that and like be able to. And this is not to say that I wasn't able to do that there, right? But like to be able to go and, fully drive the strategy behind a publication that has been well established, and, take something that was already great and make it even better, and see where we can't, elevate things and get it to another level, because there is so much opportunity here, right? Like the publishing world has had its fair share of, it's taken its fair share of hits.
Yeah.
You could see that those that know my history know where I work. They can go look at those publications, and you may not be able to log on to the websites anymore, but they're out there and the stories about them are as well. But there's still a need for this, and it's so important to have a voice out there that's working on behalf of the integrators, on behalf of the partners, and on behalf of the industry to do what we do. And that's what's exciting to me, is to still be able to tell those stories and go do it on behalf of an entire industry, and at the same time, continue to build on what's been the foundation that's been laid here, and make it even better.
And I'd like to add one thing. Let's have some fun while we do it. Let's have some fun, man. Life is short. We don't have to be boring. This doesn't have to be all white papers. And you know what I mean? I think that we can have some fun. This is a fun industry. We get to talk to cool people that are doing amazing things in this space, amazing builds, custom installs, stuff like that. That's fun. The fact that we do tie in, celebrities and, directors and cinematographers and sound engineers and stuff from major streaming things and stuff like that with real projects, I think is fun. And sometimes we lose sight of the fact that this is a cool industry. Tech is fun. Smart home stuff is fun. We can have fun with it, and I think that is that should be our mantra. That we can we can kick ass. We can be great at storytelling, but also have some fun, because at the end of the day, if it's not fun, then why are we doing it?
No, that's nothing more true for sure. The technology behind everything in that's the curious nature of wanting to explore what these new technologies do and see them in action. That's always going to be a part of it. And if you're not having fun, I don't know why you're doing it. So it's a great way to live life. And I don't see this as a job. I know that's so cliche to say, right? But when I'm writing about something fun and that I enjoy and get to cover it and talk to people, it doesn't feel like work. I don't know why you're paying me for this.
We're gonna stop. We're gonna stop paying you now. Everybody just heard that.
We should. I know, right? It's on the record here. No, but it's it doesn't feel like work when you're getting up to do this, and on behalf of some really awesome brands and people and products that are out there. It is just a good time at the end of the day.
Yeah. Well, so let's let people know, what's coming up next. First and foremost, when is the next issue coming out? I think we've got one dropping pretty soon, right?
We do. So we're just wrapping up one. I think Jeremy, he left me in good shape.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't throw the water on top of me as I was coming in. So I'm not drowning already. But he got hit. We got his last one coming out here. Should be in the next. Well, if this is dropping early April, should be happening if it hasn't already, and then we'll be rolling right into the next one. I think we're looking at early May, mid-May, something like that, end of May range, and then you'll see start that quarterly cadence as we go, moving forward into CEDIA and beyond. So looking forward to getting back into covering certain themes of issues and things like that. We got the issues issue will be the first one that we fully drop as we'll call it my own. Diving into those things, the things that are impacting the industry. So looking forward to that, and just continue to go from there.
Yeah. And what about events? When's the next event?
I'll be at one.
Can meet you,
when
shake your paw,
When this goes live, I'll be at an event. So I'll be out in Arizona with the Home Technology Specialists of America.
Okay.
HTSA, Johnny Robbins, that whole crew. They're members. So look forward to being out there. And then from there, I think I get to go back and hang out with my buddies in Indy, the Oasis, the nationwide team, and Oasis and Ellipsis and Ozione. They'll have their buying group show in Indy. So I'll be there for that first week of May. And, we'll see. Hey, call me. People got my number. They know how to get in touch with me. Yeah. If they've got an event that they want ResTech at, we'll be there. If I can't be there, we've got ways to get the events covered. So looking forward to getting back out on the road and reconnecting with this entire industry and, just like you said, having fun.
Yeah. And what is the best way for people to get a hold of you? Should they reach out on LinkedIn? You want to tell them your
everywhere?
Email address?
We see all those logos that are below us. I've got all of those. We're connect over there. Got my name. So you can also email me, rstott@goipw.com. ResTech website, restech.com. So the restechtoday.com. And, I'm everywhere. If you have my number, you got my number. Yeah. Or email me and I'll get you my number. I'm not going to put my number on a podcast. I'll tell you that much. You're not going to get me to say my phone number. No, but well, there's ways to connect everywhere. So
that's great. That's great. Well, listen, it's been a pleasure speaking with you. I think that we've really got the groundwork, laid for a big 2025 and beyond. And I think that it's going to be a fun year of collaborations, and I really want to invite, people that might be listening or people that are, kind of curious. I know people were like going, what's going on with residential tech today? Jeremy's leaving. Now they kind of see, we didn't want to just rush into getting anybody to just come in and be the editor. We wanted to make sure that we got the right person. We went through a pretty thorough process, and you can't just replace Jeremy overnight. So it took a minute, but I'm real excited that we've got you here. Heck, we might even be able to get a podcast where we could have you and Jeremy, chop it up and talk about what he's doing over there at where's he at? Projector Central. Yeah. Projector Central. Yep. So again, for everybody that's listening right now, we are super excited to do some collaboration. So reach out to Rob, reach out online. If you haven't, make sure that you hit the subscribe button. Follow us on social media. We're going to have a lot of stuff coming out, a lot of good content that's going to bring some value for you. And heck, we had a great title sponsor for this podcast last year with Nice North America. If there's a brand out there that wants to partner with us on the pod or in the magazine or online, again, feel free to reach out. Because we are looking to secure some really strong partnerships this year. And of course, keep your eye out for our magazines in print and digital. Next one's dropping really quickly. Then you'll have your first issue here in probably like about a month and a half, 2 months. And we'll just keep on rolling all the way through to CEDIA, CES. And then, man, we're going to blink. It's going to be 2026.
Whew, rushing right through it. But no, and just to add on to that too, the idea that this space is evolving, there's other ways that we may not even be thinking about that I think we can provide value to the industry. And that's where, we can get into the weeds and start baking things up that, benefit this industry, benefit a brand, benefit, everything that's going on out there. So I'm excited about all those opportunities and just, being that advocate on behalf of the industry. So look forward to continuing this work.
I'm excited. It's going to be a lot of fun. Well, thanks, Rob. Really appreciate you being here. And again, for those of you that are listening right now or watching, thank you so much for joining us. Make sure you hit the like button and subscribe. And we'll see you again at another episode of Residential Tech Talks. I'm Chuck Warner with Rob Stott. We'd like to thank you all for joining us. And we'll see you next time on Residential Tech Talks.
If you enjoyed this episode of the Residential Tech Talks podcast, please subscribe to us on the platform you're listening on. Also, be sure to follow Residential Tech Today on social media and subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Residential Tech Talks, lighting specialist to Residential Tech Talks.
Home automation device, home or smart house.